Good evening. Once again, I don't think I need to introduce myself anymore. Alright, so we'll be doing a review of chapter 4, which is the procurement process. These are the objectives that we're trying to achieve. We have to be able to describe the major organizational levels associated with the procurement process. Discuss the 4 basic categories of master data that are utilized during the procurement, then explain the key concepts associated with the procurement process, identify key steps in the procurement process, and data, documents, information associated with the 3 steps. And then use SAP to execute the key steps, like show that, and then utilize SAP to extract meaningful information. These are the objectives of the chapter, what we must be able to achieve at the end of the chapter. So I will start with the organizational data. It says here that the procurement process is executed in the context of specific organizational levels. Now, we've already discussed this, how levels, everything is in levels, and the organizational level relevant to procurement process is the client, the company code, and the plant. In this case, the plant can be several things. In a particular process, it's actually the delivery plant, but here in procurement, it's the receiving plant. So a client represents an enterprise, like you said. Many companies, subsidiaries, and each of which have their own company code. And plant fulfills many functions in a company, and in the context of procurement, like I have here, the plant is the location where the materials are received. Now, there are 3 additional organizational data which are relevant to purchasing, and they are storage location, the purchasing organization, and purchasing group. Now, we pick those 3 one out of the other. Now, the storage location is a place within the plant where materials are kept until they are needed. We know that a plant can have multiple storage locations for different purposes, and e.g. staging area, inspection area, or to store specific type of materials. Now, plants can location ranges from small bins to entire buildings. So, for instance, if you are saving up the office supplies, it might just be a drawer that is our storage location. And for instance, as said in the book, your storage location can be an entire building, like a plane hangar if you are storing planes. So it's not limited by size. That's what we're trying to say here. Now, a plant must have at least one storage location if it needs to track the quantity and value of materials in its inventory. Really, most times an enterprise will not typically track the quantity of goods it actually supplies. For instance, in trading goods, you just buy and you ship directly to a consumer, your customer, so to speak. So you don't really keep keep it within your business. So you will not have a storage location kind of distance.
Did the book get into that? Did the book get into that discussion?
Yeah.
Of the trading goods?
Yeah. Well, it did. I think so. So, one plant can have multiple storage locations, and each storage location can belong to only one plant. So this is an example. This is a diagram that shows the different kind. We have a company code. As we know, GBI US has 3 plants. Dallas, which includes one of the is a distribution as well as the manufacturing plants. That's why you have the raw materials. So here we have RM, in case you're not able to see it, RM00, XF, FG, and MI. So this is like the stuff to actually know what this stands for. So Dallas plant actually have 4 storage locations. Now these are distribution channels, so they don't have the raw materials storage location. They
So they do have trading goods storage locations?
Yeah.
Yes, okay,
So, same thing with the
right.
Germany company, it's a replication of the same thing here. So,
I thought you were saying they didn't have trading
No,
goods
they
storage
do.
locations. They do?
they do.
Right.
So the combination of plant and storage location must be unique. Now, I think in chapter 5 or so, I'm not so sure, there is, pardon me if I'm wrong, I think, there is this combination here that says this is like the sales area. I
Yes.
think. Yeah, so each of these combinations must be unique in the company.
Yes.
Yeah, so can have this forms the sales area, then this, then this, then this. Like, so in this place we have several sales area, I think. So, now the next one is purchasing organization, which says that the unit within an enterprise that performs strategic activities related to purchasing for one or more plants. Yeah, so an enterprise can have one or more purchasing plans, and it also evaluates and identifies vendors, it negotiates contracts and agreements, pricing, and all the other things associated with purchasing, procurement, right? Now, there are 3 models of purchasing organization. We have the enterprise level, we have the company level, and the plant level. Now, what these are basically saying is that there are 3 kinds of purchasing organization, basically. Now, the enterprise level means that the company basically have one purchasing organization for the whole enterprise. So this purchasing organization here actually services every plant as well as the company code, like that. So basically, it has an advantage in that it is able to the advantage is that it's able to negotiate maybe probably in bulk for the whole of the enterprise. So you get more discounts, you have more benefits, you are able to negotiate on a larger scale compared to if you have different purchasing organizations. And it also has a disadvantage. I'll probably get to that later on. Yeah. In the model, it says the purchasing organization is assigned to each plant, but not to the company code. So everyone here, it references this purchasing organization. Now there's another model that actually references this and this. So, and that is, I think that's the company level. Yeah. So the company level purchasing organization is also known as the cross-plant model. It's a single purchasing organization is responsible for multiple plants in one company code. Now you can see that the image is separated now, where we have different purchasing organizations servicing different countries. Now, here, it makes it easier to probably satisfy laws that has to do with this country. For instance, taxes or any other thing. So they can be separated and managed on a country basis, even though it still relates to the whole GBI enterprise as a whole. And now, since this is company level, the company code as well as the plant is involved in this purchasing organization. Let me see, I think I put some things down. Yeah, this approach is less centralized than the enterprise level. And in this model, the purchasing organization is assigned to both the plant and the company code. However, the purchasing organization can be assigned only to one company code. Yeah, it is fairly common to set up a separate purchasing organization for each country to deal with the country's distinctive set of laws, taxes, and business practices, like I said the other time. So, and the last one is the plant level purchasing organization, which is known as the plant-specific purchasing organization, and each plant has its own purchasing organization. So we have here that looking at the image, there it says Dallas has its own purchasing organization, San Diego, Miami, each one of them has their own, and it is the most decentralized model of the 3 kinds of purchasing organization we can have. It's the And I'm thinking, like, why would you want to have something like this? It looks so, I don't know, I think it looks so decentralized, but I think it also gives you a way to manage, like, specifically to what the plant needs. So
Well,
like,
you
yeah.
think about, we have in Mississippi, we have the Institution of Higher Learning, and then we have the 8 state institutions falling under that.
Yeah.
And so each institution gets to do its own thing.
Yeah.
So if we have local vendors that we have really good relationships with here in Cleveland or Greenville, then it makes sense to give us the flexibility to do that.
Doing that, yeah.
I think your textbook author also mentions, and it's also common for organizations to have a hybrid approach.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's the same thing as the universities as well. For instance, IHL has the university system, but then they also have the community college system, all falling under IHL. The community colleges can get together and make a decision that they all have to follow. The same thing with universities. Every once in a while, they make us, as a group,
Yeah.
follow the same rules. So you can have a purchasing organization set at that IHL level. You can also have one at the individual institutions, but you can see sometimes you get a better deal if you do it at that wider level, but I also may be able to get a better deal if the guy down the street has a very good long-term relationship with this particular campus. As a matter of fact, the chairs that we have in the next door lab came because of a local vendor that we use quite a bit, and we got a really good deal because of that. So definitely a benefit to being flexible there.
So the next one we'll talk about, which is what you were talking about the other time, that some enterprise frequently have to adopt the hybrid model, which is what we said that we can have a central one and we maintain different ones. And even GBI, the model that we're following, uses the hybrid model, and it says here that it consists of one central purchasing organization that can evaluate needs and opportunities for the entire enterprise and negotiate global contracts with purchasing organizations then used across the enterprise. So yeah, GBI adopted an hybrid model to include a single global reference purchasing organization, which is GL00.
Now, what's important for us to remember on the IT side is our enterprise resource planning system can handle all of these different models. We might end up supporting all of these different kinds of things happening in the system. In addition, if you end up with a company about to explore enterprise systems, this would be something that it would be your responsibility to say, well, yes, this is possible in an enterprise system. We need to look for one that offers that functionality, because you should know how your company handles that, and you should be able to find a system that supports that.
So the next thing is a purchasing group. Now, the purchasing group is an individual or group of individuals who are responsible for purchasing activities for a material or a group of materials. Yeah, so we said, whereas the purchasing organizations are responsible for the strategic aspect of purchasing, such as negotiating with vendors and all, purchasing group carry out the day-to-day purchasing activities themselves. Now, the activities include planning, creating purchase requisitions, requesting quotations from vendor, and creating, monitoring purchase orders. Now, we have the definition of what a purchase order is. We all know what that is. Now, the purchase group is not always an entity within the company. Some businesses outsource the group's activity. Yeah. So, for instance, there are some things that we don't buy ourselves. You can outsource your staff. Just an example, you can outsource your staff recruitment. You can outsource so many other things. You necessarily do not need to have a purchasing group within the company itself. That's what we're trying to say. Yeah. So now we'll move on to the master data that is relevant to the purchasing process, and we have 4 of them. We have the material master, we have the vendor master. This is quite a lot. I'll try to see if I can hurry it up. We have the purchasing info records and conditions. Now, the four types are integrated in various combinations throughout the procurement process. Now, starting with the first one, material master. Data in material master are grouped into different views that are relevant to the different processes. Now, the views include basic data, which include material number, description, weight. Then we have the financial accounting, we have the purchasing and plant, storage. Financial accounting data include the valuation currency, that is the currency at which you're operating. For instance, in the US, it's the US dollars. We have the valuation class, which identifies the general ledger account associated with the material. We'll get to that shortly. The price control, which identifies the method that is used to value the materials. And I have in my notes here that there are two options for price control, which is the moving average price and the standard price. Now, a bit of explanation, the moving average price is just when you value the total item, like for instance, you have 20 bicycles and valued at $5,000. So the moving average is like taking the average 5,000 over 20. So whatever you get is the moving average price. Now the standard price is just basically how much each one costs. So
The moving average price can change.
yeah, it can change depending on when you get more stocks. So it can change from, for instance, when you get extra 100 bikes. So of course the moving price would increase slightly. So.
Now for that homework assignment, you guys were supposed to go into the material master and find the number that you had on inventory and find that moving average price, and that was part of how you were supposed to complete that assignment for the moving average. So we'll see that.
Okay, yeah. So I have some notes here. It says the general ledger accounts are used to maintain the value of inventory in stock and are updated as the materials are purchased, sold, or used in production. Valuation class provides an important integration point between purchasing and financial accounting because it allows the system to automatically make postings to appropriate stocks or inventory accounts in the general ledger. So these are just the data that made up the financial accounting part. Now the purchasing data is the key data in purchasing view. For instance, the goods received, processing time, the delivery tolerance. Now the processing time is the amount it takes, the amount of time required to receive the material from a vendor and placing them into storage. So when you place an order, when it comes for you to unbox them, the time it takes you to unbox, to arrange, to probably sort, to check that it's working, and then placing in storage is the good receipt time. The delivery tolerance specifies how much over or under delivery the ordering party will accept. So that's like, if for instance if you order for items and probably order for 100, and you know that plus or minus 5. So if, for instance, they delivered 95, you can still take the order as accepted. Like, I mean, we are not talking 95 now. We're probably talking about thousands of items. So it's possible for some to misplace and might be over order as well. So, but once the delivery tolerance is exceeded in any way, you probably might return the item, or you can request for additional items, or you request for a reimbursement. Probably. I have some notes here, but I would probably just. The next one is the vendor master, and it includes the data necessary to conduct businesses with vendor and execute transactions related to the purchasing process. Now the data in the vendor master are grouped into three. We have the general data, we have the accounting data, and we have the purchasing data. Now purchasing data, it's just the various terms related to determining the prices, creating and communicating purchase order, verifying the invoices, and every other steps. Accounting data, you know what accounting data is. staff related data, bank, payments, method, check or online or and all. Now the general data is just the normal things that we need to know about the vendor, the name, the address, the account, and the communication info, such as the phone number or any other means of reaching them. Facts. Now they said these data are defined at the client level and are consistent across all company groups. I mean, can use the same vendor in different aspects of the purchasing and procurement and all. So it's not necessarily a particular thing alone. So general data are common to purchasing and accounting departments and can be maintained by either department. Okay, the next one is purchasing info records. Now it's an intersection or a combination of material and vendor data. It contains data specific to one vendor and one material or material groups, and it is grouped into the general data and the purchasing organization data. It also defines the number of different conditions such as the gross price, the discounts, surcharges, and taxes, and all. Data from the purchasing info record are used as the default values when creating a purchase order for a specific combination of material and vendor. Yeah. So I remember in the SAP lab class that we did something. We had to do something like this. So you create like a default value. So when you are inputting your road elements or the repair kits kind of thing, you don't have to go over and get all this again. You just keep doing that, especially if you now have, we'll get to that, if you have the purchase order already, it's like an automated process. So they said companies use pricing conditions to determine the cost of purchasing the material from that vendor. Now I have a diagram here which is showing basically where do we have this? Okay, which is showing where the data for the purchasing info record comes from. It's a combination of this and this. I was thinking if we have the slide this thing, so that I won't have to, because there's another image. Now this is a typical purchasing info records. Yeah, so we have here the material. This is the vendor ID, the material. Now this is the purchasing organization US 00 box. This is the info record generated. Now we know that it costs $15 each, and there is a discount of 4% for every order greater than 1,000. And here it says the last purchase order. So this references the last order you placed for something like this. So you can easily recall this to generate another order easily without having to enter the data all over again. Now the last one is the conditions. That's for master data. Conditions are very similar to the one discussed in purchasing info records. Used to determine the appropriate prices, discount, taxes, and all. And it is not specific for a combination. No, it's not defined for a specific combination of vendor and materials. Conditions are based on the overall agreements and contracts in place with vendors. The company uses these conditions to determine pricing when it creates purchase orders. So yeah, I think that's that with the master data. We'll talk about the key concepts in purchasing procurement process rather. Now we have the item category. Underneath we have the standard, consignment, subcontracting, third party, stock transfer, and services. These are all item categories. Item categories determine the process which data, like determines which process steps and data are needed when a company purchases material or services. Now, the standard item are the most common one.
And this is really basically the different ways that we acquire or procure materials. Different ways that can be handled.
Okay, so it can be standard, it can be consignment, which means the company will pay after using after using or selling the material, it could be a third party order, so the vendor ships directly to a customer. For instance, the trading goods. Now it could be a stock transfer, which is a process whereby an organization uses the procurement process to obtain materials from another plant within the same organization. And it could be a service which is just, it do not involve receiving material, it's just a mechanism to record something that happens, and it generates like a service request sheet, service sheet or something. So those are the different ways you can procure materials basically. Now the next one is the account determination, and under this we have terms such as stock materials, which are raw materials acquired for later use in the production process, or trading goods used for subsequent sales to customers. You have the consumable materials, which is acquired to be used by the organizations, for instance the office supplies. It's basically for use within the organization, pen, paper, and stuff like that. We have the account assignment object and the account assignment category. Now these two basically tells us the category of the item, probably if it's an asset or an order. Company uses this category when they purchase materials for different types of order. Or if it's a cost center, we know what a cost center is, which is basically an object or a point used to accumulate costs within an organization, or if it's a project. I don't really write the explanation for the project there right now, so I don't want to say what's on my notes. Now, we have the stock type or status as well. We have unrestricted use, which means basically we can use the item as we want. We can either sell it, we can use it internally. Then a quality inspection tells us that, okay, we received this item, we are still processing it to know if it's if we can sell it, or if we shouldn't accept this and return it back to the vendor. Now, locked stock basically tells us, okay, something is wrong with this. Either we are like it's faulty, or something is not just right with stock. Probably we got the wrong order from a vendor, which we have to also return back. Now, stock in transit is materials being moved from one plant to another within the organization. Now, we also have goods movement. It's a key concept. Under it, we have the goods receipt, we have the goods issue, stock transfer, and the transfer posting. I'll just read what I have here. It says the first three movements involve the physical movement of materials from one location to another, and the fourth, which is the transfer posting, is used to change the stock type of the material. Now, if you recall in this other one, these are the stock type. So the posting basically tells us, okay, this was a block stock earlier, but we want to change the status to an unrestricted use, or it's a quality inspection, now it has been certified, okay, we can use it as we please. So, and the other one, the goods receipt, just records the receipt of goods into storage, which results in increase in the inventory quantity, and the goods issued materials are removed from storage, and in which case the inventory is reduced. Stock transfer moves goods from one location to another within the organization. Now, I have it here that a goods movement will always result in the creation of a material document, and material documents are record data related to a goods movement, such as the receipt of goods from a vendor and some other stuff, but there is also place the creation of material documents in goods movement. That's very important. Associated with this is the movement type. So we're talking about goods movements there. So this is the representation of the movement types we have in SAP. We have goods receipt for a purchase order, which is done by this key. Now this other one here is used to, for instance, we make a mistake in when you are creating the purchase order. use this to be faster, because you can't just delete the purchase order. There's a counter process to it. So use this. Now in the goods received into block stock, if you remember what I said about the block stock, which is the goods that for some reason are not okay, we are not able to use them, either because they send the wrong item or because they are fault. So this is used to mark the movement type within the SAP system, and this is now the final one used to return delivery to the vendor if we are actually sending them back. And the other ones are the goods issue, the transfer posting. So here you can see what I said the other time, that we can do from the quality inspection to unrestricted use, or we can move from quality inspection to block stock. If we check and we notice that the items are not working, we have to return them.
And notice this is a nice way to document what's moving and why, or really why something's moving. Documentation.
So we have here we're almost rounding up the procurement process. This is like a detailed overview of the procurement process, and this is like a flow chart that shows what actually happens. We have the requirement determination, which is we have the triggers, like we discussed in one of the classes, that something always trigger a process. Now the trigger for the procurement process, usually, for instance, the fulfillment process, maybe production process, the materials planning process. Now we know what these are. Fulfillment process is maybe after we delivered an item, we realize that okay, we need some more, we need to stock up, or we need to produce more of this item. The stocks are depleting and all. Now this generates a requirement determination, and the document here that is brought out is purchase requisition. After getting the purchase requisition, we will ask this question: the source of supply, is it known? If yes, it's known, which means we have a vendor existing in our system. We go directly there, we select and we evaluate a vendor that we think is a good fit. If not, we determine our source of supply by requesting for proposals, and we get the quotation, and then we determine which, and we enter it into our system. Now, after that, we have a purchase order processing, which is where we actually generate the purchase order. The goods receipts will bring the goods, like we mark the goods as received from the vendor, and there is a delivery document attached to that. Now we generate an invoice, we verify that we are actually paying for the amount of goods we received, and then we make the payments, and that's all. And this is basically a detailed sort of process of procurement. These documents are generated during the course of procurement. We have the FI documents, we have the financial accounting management or controlling, material document, the transaction documents, and also user input. A lot of user input goes into there because we need to validate the orders, we need to validate the amounts and check that everything is correct. So the requirement determination process is shown in the image. I'll just stay here so we can explain it very fast. Now there are some things that that we use in discussing these, which are trigger, data, task, and outcomes. Now in the requirement determination, the trigger is the requirement from other processes, or we can manually determine that okay, we need to get the requirements for procurement. Now the data we use is the master data and the user inputs. Now the data needed to create a purchase requisition are the item category, the quantity, the desired delivery date, location, and the receiving plant. The material number is needed for stock items, and an account assignment object may be required depending on the item category selected. Now the task is just creating the purchase requisition using the data that we have on ground, and the outcome is the purchase document itself, the purchase requisition document itself. So the system generates the document and it assigns a number to it. There is used to track the progress of the procurement. Next is the order processing, and the trigger is, if you remember, the outcome of the other one, which is purchase requisition, the quotation, purchase order, and the data we use here is also the master data and the transaction documents. And the task is to determine the source of supply and to create the purchase order. The outcome is the purchase order, the purchase requisition update, and our communication with the vendor to supply the material. I'll read the note here. It says, in the task, the step is to create and send purchase order to vendor. In addition, other steps may be necessary depending on how the order is created. The most common additional step involve selecting a vendor and then communicating with the vendor to confirm logistics and delivery details. So that's basically what happens during the task section of the order processing. Next, we have our goods receipts. We receive the delivery from vendor, which is the trigger. And our data, we have the organizational data, the master data, the transaction document. These are all documents that are one way or another affected by the goods receipts. And then the task is to verify the receipt of materials, the quantity, the quality, and then we create the goods receipts document. Now, I want to put here that most of the data needed to complete the goods receipts are contained in the delivery document and the purchase order. For instance, the purchase order number, the material order, the quantity ordered, the delivery documents, material delivered, the quantity delivered, which is different from the quantity that you ordered. Sometimes maybe they may do a partial delivery, so to speak. So, and then the user input is to verify that this is what we have. Then the storage location, the movement type, we determine all this. Like the user determines all this. And then the outcome of the goods receipt is basically the goods receipt slip. But the FI document is updated, the GL account, the purchase order is updated, the material master is updated, and every other thing, as you can see in the outcomes section. I think this is much more easier to understand while doing the practical, because I had issues with wrapping my head around this as well while I was trying to read the material. Then after doing the practical, and it all seems so okay, so this is what is
So you like this better?
Yeah, so it's because you see, as the documents are being created, you have to confirm every time you confirm it. And so I would advise you to do the practical and check things for ourselves as it flows. Now, the second to the last part of the procurement process is the invoice verification. We receive the invoice after the goods received. We receive the invoice from the vendor, and the data affected is the master data and the transaction documents. The task is a three-way match. To complete this step, the user will provide the data from the invoice, that is the vendor, date, and the amount, the purchase order number, and the system will retrieve all the needed data from the purchase order. To also retrieve the goods receipt order for the purchase. The user will verify that the data are correct, and if they are, we will approve the invoice. So that's the user input part. Now the outcome is the invoice documents and updates to the purchase order. The financial accounting documents is also updated. I didn't include the picture because really it looks so. The accounting part of this, I didn't include it. It's in the material. It's debit, the credit. So after payments,
That's okay.
debit is so I just decided not to include that. Now the material master is also updated. And finally, payment processing. So after verifying the invoice, the payment processing aspect is triggered. The data is also still the master data, the transaction documents, the user inputs. Now the task is to select the method of payment, select the bank, select the items, and calculate the total amount, then post the payment and you print your evidence of the receipt. The outcome is the payment itself, which is either sending a check or making the payment electronically and also updating the financial accounting document to show that payments has been made to the vendor. And that happens automatically as soon as you make posting, because I think based on this, the reconciliation accounts, I'm sure we get that. So I would like to see if I can read something like here. Okay, it says the outcome, one obvious outcome of this step is payment to the vendor, either electronically or via check. Like I said, the appropriate general ledger accounts are also updated. So in this section, I think that's all with the breakdown of the image I showed earlier about the procurement process. Now, most of these processes don't stand alone. They interact with other processes. The vendor master is jointly maintained by the purchasing and accounting. Several steps in the procurement, such as the goods receipt and the invoice verification, payment processing, all impact the general ledger account. You see that I was making reference to it here that everything FI documents, CO, FI documents, master data transaction documents, they are all affected. So they don't stand alone during the procurement process. Now the cost center related to management accounting is to charge goods or the department for the purchase. So the particular department that is making the purchase requisition will be charged. So it might be a person, it might be just me, depending on how I'm configured in the SAP system, if I'm a cost center, or it might be a group, or it might be an entire department. So procurement also involves material movement and quality inspections, which is the domain of inventory and warehouse management. So we can see how the fact that procurement is like standing in the middle is actually an image to show that, or I didn't include it. It's like a central part and interacts with several other processes in the SAP system. And the last part is the reporting. There are two kinds of reporting, which is the online lists generated based on selected master data and documents. And the system also generates the work lists that identify pending work associated with the various process steps. Now, standard reporting tools in transactional systems are used. Purchasing information systems are an integral part of the logistic information system, which is also used in reporting. And there are two. It has two capabilities for displaying a report, which is the standard and the flexible analysis. Now, in the standard analysis, the characteristics are organized at organizational levels, the master data relevant to the procurement process. Now, if you look at the image there, it shows that it says, okay, this is what we actually have. Then we can drill down to vendor level and see, okay, under each vendor, this is what we have. We can further go down and break it down by a period of time. So this is like a standard view for you to analyze what is happening. This is defined in the system by default. Now the other one, which is flexible analysis, allows you to choose your parameter. Like you choose the characteristics you want to see in your reports, either the vendor, the material, the month, and then it will present a field for you to be able to analyze. Now, I would say this, depending on your choice, depending on how you visualize it, and this might be useful for you compared to having to drill down in the standard one. I think this is usually faster if you know, like if one is into the system, you would not use the standard one. So this shows you, okay, in May 2010, this is the number of item order, this is the value, spare chair, this is the vendor, and this is the material ordered, and these are the breakdowns. So it's easier to visualize that way. And I think that's come to the end of the presentation.
Very good.